Ugh, I don't really feel like putting on some decent clothes and speaking in front of the camera all that much, so I guess I'll do it this way. It's been 3 episodes of this show and I still don't know if you people like it or not because I'm writing all the scripts at the same time. Why did I even think this was a good idea? Well, I can probably blame the low watch rates of my other videos. People are just not as interested in regular Let's Plays anymore. All they want to watch is people shouting and banging doors and Five Nights at Freddy's and whatnot. And I hear Undertale is a pretty popular game right now. It's not the same as 6 years ago. I wasn't all that late to the party and I was even a bit popular back then. I wonder if people will get mad at me for just using this background for the entire intro block. Well, maybe I should just cut into the title. Well, this was the episode I wanted to start the series with, but given the amount of episodes I had to watch in such a short amount of time, I had to make space for other reviews to come in first while I was still thinking of the concept. But here we go. Gintama, Silver Soul, or Gintama, Silver Balls. This is such a unique blend of shonen and comedy and parodies and Japanese culture and just Gintoki. I should consider bringing the Shinpachi to the show. Maybe it would give the jokes a little bit more punch. Or maybe just a Kagura. But, you know, I'm just gonna start babbling about, so what do you say we start off by talking a bit more about this awesome anime, Gintama. Episodes 1 through 201. Let's start with the storyline. Edo, the land of samurai. There was a time in which our country was called that. 20 years ago, the Yamato came and a war to open our borders began. The anti-foreigner faction tried to drive the Yamato away, but their methods against the shogun forced us to open the doors and left us defenseless. The swords are now banned, and the Yamato control the Bakufu. And this is not what the series is about. Sure, this gives you some context as to what the context of the anime is, and this part of the story is deeply connected to some of the characters, but the story of Gintama isn't really all that linear. Gintama follows Gintoki Sakata, a man that fought on the anti-foreigner war long ago, feared by many under the name of Shiroyasha or the White Demon. He now works as a freelancer over his friend Otosu's bar. This freelancer company called the Yorosuya has another 2 members, Shinpachi, whom he meets in a restaurant one day while he's abused by his boss, and Gin decides to save him, and just Shinpachi follows him around and decides to work for him in order to find the spirit of the great and unique real samurai. And then it's Kagura, who's an Amanto girl that was from a planet where the Yado clan lives, and the Yado clan is super powerful and they're like superhuman, like they have amazing strength. And she carries an umbrella gun that she can use to break stuff and shoot at things. She comes to Earth in order to eat different things than just the type of rice that she ate back home, and to earn some money so that she can eat more food. So there you go, there's your character that eats a lot trope. But anyways, even though the storyline isn't really all that linear, the episodes do reference each other as they happen, and the characters presented in one episode are almost surely to appear at some point a few episodes later, or at some point in the future, even if you see them at the very beginning and they don't appear all that much throughout the rest of the series. They will appear later on, trust me on this. I know. But yeah, apart from that, there are many different story arcs in which the story focuses for a few episodes and develops a character or a group or just a general part of the series. As if it would be very long for me to just tell you what the story goes from and where it comes from and where it goes to throughout the entirety of the series. It's 201 episodes, so I think I'll just tell you what are the story arcs that I consider the most important as to the development of the characters and the story. Let's start with the story arcs. First off, we have Umibozu. Kagura's father comes to Earth and tries to take Kagura back with him as he repents missing most of her childhood and being an absent father all the time. In the meantime, a gigantic parasitic species is growing in the central tower of Edo. The Beni Sakura arc. This arc got turned into a movie, for Christ's sake. A mysterious sword that is said to be evil is robbed by the terrorist Kiheitai faction. Its user attempts to kill Katsura and Gintoki while starting to be consumed by the demon sword itself. Ikesugi is behind all this, but the Yorosuya will have to each find a member of the Kiheitai in order to save Edo. The movie is like the definitive version of this arc, and I haven't watched it myself because I just did the catch up with the series and I'm watching it as it goes, so I'm not even gonna watch the movies yet. I need to finish the series before I watch the movies. Robot Maids. An extremely large group of robot maids appear in Edo chasing after a single robot head that Gin found lying on the trash the night beforehand. Resulting in a bigger situation, the Yorosuya try to help Tama, the robot head, to fulfill her master's wish of making his daughter smile. Though it wouldn't be so easy as the daughter is actually dead and the master is bent on world destruction. I mean, everyday work. The Yagyu. When Otai, Shinpachi's sister, was young, she was friends with Kyubei, who desperately wanted to be stronger. After one of Kyubei's fights costs an eye, Otai swore to be Kyubei's eye, and Kyu in return promises to get stronger before that day comes. The day arrives and Kyubei takes Otai seemingly by force to marry her. Shinpachi doesn't want his sister to marry someone she doesn't really love and challenges the Yagyu dojo in favor of retrieving Otai. After many unexpected twists, the real love story behind Kyubei's actions is explained. The Shinsengumi Rebellion! Pretty much what its name says. The Shinsengumi, or the samurai police force in Edo, suffers from inner conflicts and is about to be taken over by the Kiheitai. Having a cursed vice commander possessed by the spirits of a supreme otaku and a clueless gorilla commander, the Yorosuya ends up mixed in the mess. Ryugujo! Loosely based on Japanese lore, summer vacation starts for the Yorosuya with them getting shipwrecked at sea after saving a turtle man that promises to take them to Ryugujo. After arriving on a seemingly deserted island, Yorosuya and many others end up in the midst of Queen Otohime's evil plan to eliminate all beauty greater than hers. This one is to respect your elders. Pay attention, guys. Alien Abduction, also called Monkey Hunter. Shinpachi was abducted and his body was modified to have a finger screwdriver. Kagura was too, and she has a screwdriver body. And Gintoki was abducted as well, and he has a screwdriver dick. They search for the alien perpetrators to recover their old bodies by entering a game the aliens seem to like a lot, Monkey Hunter. They eventually discovered that pretty much everyone they know was a victim as well. The Ghost Ryokan. Being offered a vacation in some thermal bathhouse is perfect for the Yorosuya and Otai, but they end up being possessed by ghosts and Gintoki is forced to work under the place's owner. Yoshiwara and the Dark King. A place governed by different rules, dwelling on the underground, Yoshiwara is a dangerous city. However, there's an orphan boy that tries to buy a woman in Yoshiwara and recurs to thievery in Edo's Kabuki district. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he runs into Gintoki and is taken to Atose's bar where he can work and earn the money honestly. The story unfolds as they try to save this woman, Inowa, Yoshiwara's son, from her oppressor, a Yaro that rivals Umibosu's power. Gintoki and the Yorosuya then try to help Yoshiwara, the kid, and a member of the Yoshiwara police force, the Hyaka, return the sun and true happiness to the city. Otsu Terakado's Fan Club! Shinpachi's fan club for an idol is starting to lose members in part due to his iron fist and in part because there's a new group of otakus forming up to be the Supreme One. Turns out, Hijikata Toshiro, the Shinsengumi's vice commander, is once again overtaken by the Supreme Otaku's spirit. Or is he? After a competition to be the official Tsuterakado's fan club is announced, war begins between the new Tsuterakado fan club and the Tsusengumi. Tama Quest. Otose insists that Tama should take a break from work or she'll catch a cold. Tama insists that robots can't get sick and is instead infected by the tapir virus, getting all jacked up in polygons and later downgraded to pixels. Mimicking Japanese lore, the Yorosuya is struck by a mallet and sent inside Tama's body to help fix her in time. The place looks terribly similar to a certain JRPG, which may or may not be called Dragon Quest. Yoshiwara and the Crimson Spider. Tsukuyo, the leader of the Hyaka, is starting to get desperate from the crime rates rising in Yoshiwara, so Hinowa calls upon the Yorosuya to help her out. After following their only lead and infiltrating a band of thugs by saying that they are married, Gin and Tsukuyo end up being trapped by the mastermind behind everything. Popularity poll number 2. Celebrating the release of a movie, the staff at the studio decided to have a popularity poll, and some characters didn't take their place in the ranking very well. Someone is trying to get to a better position, which makes everyone freak out and fight each other. The last one, but not the least important, is the Omniology. The TV's weather forecast has been wrong as of late due to Ketsuno Christelle being interfered with. She turns out to be more than just a celebrity when she's revealed to be a powerful Omniology, a diviner that can fight demons, summon monsters, cast spells, and see the weather for the next day. She seems troubled, so being a faithful fan, Gintoki offers to help her, which turns into a big fight with the rival Omniology family. And they mess up with Gintoki's balls. Alright, let's turn to presentation, but you're kidding, right? Right? No? Well, alright. The presentation is amazing. You'd expect this from a show that parodies things here and there, but the attention to detail is just amazing, guys. They do confuse their own parodies from time to time. Other times they just flat out call the parodied parts by name, but the detail is definitely there. Though most of the jokes require an understanding of Japanese culture, the humor in Gintama doesn't only shine with verbal jokes, but with visual gags and a lot of small references here and there, such as Krillin appearing in an episode where everyone loses their hair. Or when they remember stuff from the very first episodes to reference them later, or just flat out tell you to go back and watch them. Music is cool, though they do use the same clips for a lot of things. This is a long-running shonen anime, so I'll give it a pass on that. It's not easy to write new music all the time, and many of the characters have their own theme composed for them, so that's pretty cool. Even more so, it's satisfying that you can identify the music with what's going on in the screen, and it even has its twists, so it's not really all that predictable. Top-notch work from the guys at Sunrise, as well as the voice actors that do such a stellar job with each of the characters. Different tones for different situations, voices are on point for each and every one of the characters and their personalities, and they change when the moment requires it, and they sound goofier when it's time to really laugh, and they sound like so serious when it's like getting to a point where you're almost crying. It conveys emotions so well. It is simply a perfect presentation. But okay. I've been giving praise to Gintama non-stop, so let's try to be fair and think a little bit critically on what this is. It's supposed to be a shonen anime, right? Well, there certainly is action at least once per episode, but it's not always the same. Sometimes you'll end up being warped into a piece of live narration setting, or even completely switching styles midway through the episodes. It's not a big problem, but it is hard to follow. The story is hard to follow as well, given that not many of the episodes really advance in the ways of the main conflict established by the show itself. The anti-foreign factions are trying to get rid of the Bakufu and the Shogun as they accepted the Yamato. The biggest, baddest villain in the anime really only makes a couple appearances, and he's never shown really fighting. There are characters that don't make any appearances at all after being developed out for a while, and some others are flat out forgotten outside of cameos on the intro and outro scenes. I know it's complicated to give story arcs to everyone or make everyone develop as characters deeply, but it'd be nice to see more of these characters every once in a while, as would be seeing more of the Kiheita and the Yakyu or the Oniwabanshi. The fact that the anime follows the non-aging principle makes it hard to have characters abandon specific traits of their personality, such as Kagura being childish. This isn't necessarily a bad point, but I just thought mentioning it here would be better off than in any other section, given that to give a character a personality change, it usually has to be through visions, retellings, dreams, or visual modification, and it usually doesn't last more than a few episodes, even more than one. But here we are. Even after all that, what can I say? Gintama is awesome. It has tons of characters, tons of comedy, tons of action, and some very cool moments. It even has an entire section of an episode dedicated to the top lines people say. It's great. Sure, it has its fair share of things that could be way better, but I'm just reviewing Gintama, see? It's not Gintama or Gintama. So it still has room for improvement. So in that case, these were 4 really good years. As the animation and narration got better with each passing year, I would give it a perfect yakisoba out of burnt takoyaki. I mean, a 9.5 out of 10, which means you should definitely give it a chance. Please check it out. It's packed of awesome episodes, stories, funny moments, fourth wall breaking, and an amazing soundtrack. Alright, so that means that everything's great, right? The first 201 episodes of Gintama are great, and they get better as you progress towards the end of this first show. I do plan to get onto the other shows, Gintama and Gintama, as to give them a fair review as a second and third seasons once I'm done watching them. In the meantime, please let me know which anime I should watch and if you've been liking this series so far. So now, go away. I'd like to catch the weather report before I start looking like a total dork. Madao. Until next time, goodbye guys.